I never thought I'd be the kind of person to write something like this. But after what happened last winter, I can't keep it inside anymore. Maybe writing it out will make me feel less crazy. Or maybe it'll just prove that I've already lost my mind. Either way, here's my story. It was a freezing night in January. I had just finished a late shift at work, and I was exhausted. Normally, I'd walk home. It wasn't too far, but the snow was falling hard, and the streets were slippery. My phone was dead, so calling a taxi wasn't an option. I pulled my scarf tighter around my neck, shivering, when I saw it. A bus. Its headlights cut through the snow like pale yellow eyes, and the faint rumble of the engine echoed through the empty street. The digital sign above the windshield flickered weakly. Route 23. That stopped me in my tracks. Route 23 had been shut down years ago. I remembered because I used to take it as a kid. They closed it after a terrible accident. Something about brakes failing, a crash, and deaths. A lot of deaths. I stood there, breath steaming in the air, watching the bus crawl toward me. The doors hissed open. I should have walked away. Every instinct screamed at me to. But it was so cold, and I was so tired. And when the driver, a thin man with hollow eyes and a stiff smile, nodded at me, I found myself stepping inside. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it was. There were maybe a dozen passengers scattered throughout the bus, but not a single one spoke. They all sat perfectly still, staring straight ahead. No phones, no books, no conversations, just silence. Their faces were pale, waxy, almost unreal in the dim light. Some of them looked like shadows of people I used to know. One woman resembled my old math teacher. A man in the back looked almost exactly like my uncle, who had died 5 years ago. I shook my head. I'm just tired, I thought, seeing things that aren't there. I slid into a seat near the middle and tried not to make eye contact. The bus jolted forward, and I clutched the cold metal pole beside me. The ride was slow, steady, unnervingly smooth. The driver never glanced back, never spoke, and still none of the passengers moved. Every time I looked up, I swore their eyes were fixed just slightly to the left of me, like they knew something I didn't. After a while, I noticed something strange about the route. We weren't passing any familiar streets. No shops, no houses, no landmarks I recognized. Instead, the bus rumbled past long stretches of dark forest, empty fields, and crumbling buildings. Places I had never seen in my life. My stomach twisted. Finally, I leaned forward and whispered to the man sitting across from me. "Excuse me, do you know when we'll reach downtown?" He didn't answer, didn't even blink. I swallowed hard. "Hello." Slowly, his head turned. His eyes met mine. Hollow, glassy, like someone staring through a window from the other side. Then, in the faintest, rasping voice, he said, "You shouldn't be here." My blood ran cold. The bus screeched to a stop, so suddenly I almost fell out of my seat. The doors hissed open, and a gust of icy wind swept inside. No one got on. No one got off. But the silence deepened, heavier than before. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, muttered something about getting off here, and stumbled down the aisle. The driver didn't look at me, didn't say a word. As I passed the last row, I felt a dozen pairs of eyes following me. Lifeless, unblinking, pulling me down into something I couldn't name. I rushed off the bus. The doors shut behind me with a metallic thud, and the engine roared. I watched as the bus pulled away, disappearing into the falling snow. And then, silence. I turned around, expecting to see a familiar street, maybe a sign, anything. But I was standing on an abandoned road, surrounded by overgrown trees. No lights, no sound, no city, just darkness. Panic clawed at my chest. I started walking, stumbling through the snow, calling out for help. My breath came in ragged clouds. After what felt like hours, I finally saw headlights in the distance. A real bus, this time modern, brightly lit, with a route number I recognized. I flagged it down and climbed inside, nearly collapsing in relief. The driver gave me a strange look but didn't ask questions. I sat near the front, clutching the seat like it was the only thing keeping me alive. When I got home, I tried to convince myself it was a dream, a trick of exhaustion and cold. But when I pulled off my jacket, something fell out of my pocket. A crumpled bus ticket. The ink was faded, the paper yellowed with age. At the top, in faint letters, was written, Route 23. And at the bottom, a single word, paid. I haven't taken public transportation since that night. I walk no matter how far, no matter how cold. But sometimes, late at night, when the streets are empty and the air is still, I swear I hear it. The low rumble of an engine, the hiss of doors opening, and the whisper of voices telling me, you shouldn't be here.